Hey, welcome to A Foreigner in the Philippines. When I was a musician, which is about 1900 and frozen to death, I used to, for some strange reason, because I haven't displayed any great aptitude for learning languages, in the band that I was in a big band, and I was one of the lead singers in that band, and it was a top 40 band, okay, nothing terribly grand, but we earned a very good living, and it was a popular band. Now that was a 13-piece, so a fairly big band, and I used to get the foreign language top 40 songs, and occasionally songs would come into the charts, and we would cover them if they became very popular. So I remember that I even sang one in Hebrew, I sang in Spanish, at other jobs I sang in German, and I also sang in French. And in one of those quirks of memory for which something comes clearly, I remember saying, "On a tous donc une petite fille oubliée, on sait plus qu'un chien, assez douté l'idée." Terrible, mashed up. I am sorry my apologies to the French people. That's as much as I remember. And then, but back in those days, my pronunciation apparently was quite good, because when I got off stage and went down and was mingling with the audience, people would come up to me and speak to me in French, and I'd have to say, "I'm sorry, I have no idea what you're talking about." Well, anyway, I'll get to the point of why I give you this example, and that is that a subscriber, Nigel Clements, Mr. Clements, you've written to me, and you have written in French, even though you were educated apparently in Birmingham, at some point spent some time in Birmingham, so should be able to talk to me in English. You've started off your message urgent. Now, I won't murder the French language any more than I've already done now, but it does say in there, attention, danger, dangereux or dangerous. I've no idea what they're trying to tell me, but if it's dangerous and it's urgent, why don't you get in touch with me again in English? Okay, so anyway, this brings me back again to, I'm still trying, and because I'm only trying, I'm not succeeding. In order to succeed, you have to actually do it, don't you? You don't keep saying, "I'm trying." If you ask somebody to do something and learn something, and they say, "Well, I am trying," it means that they're failing, and they're failing because they're not working hard enough at it. And I have to hold my hand up about not learning Visayan or learning Tagalog. And as I've said before, the dilemma for anybody coming to the Philippines and on the subject of what language to learn, like you could for this place that I'm in now, Visayan is the language, the first language of choice, I find. That's what everybody around me speaks. Now, but if you turn on the radio or the television, it's in Tagalog. So what do you want to do? Do you want to understand what everybody out there in Philippine land is talking? In other words, Tagalog, or so that you can watch television, so you can watch Filipino movies, even the great Korean movies that my wife loves so much have been dubbed in Tagalog. So not so hot on the Filipino movies because they tend to be very wordy, whereas in America the way that they are creating their movies now is to minimize the amount of talk and increase the amount of action. So coming over to the Philippines, you tend to notice that very much. And here they definitely like the headshots, where they have a shot and then suddenly it goes up close, so they zoom in, and they do that constantly. Plus they have child actors here who are nothing short of amazing in their memory. They can, on single shot of the child, and the child will have memorized immaculately one go. They'll have memorized like 6 or 7 minutes sometimes between a small group of children of dialogue, and they'll have memorized it immaculately. So things are different here. So I would like, while not particularly going for the Philippine movies that I've seen to date, I would like to be able to see the, albeit dubbed Korean movies, because they are so beautifully made. So there is good reason to learn Tagalog, but then all of that exchange that I experience at say the dinner table, where I'm isolated. You know, I mean, I learned to cope with that. Actually, I'm not coping. I'm okay with it. It's been the way that it is for a long time, and now it's almost as if I don't actually hear it, so it doesn't bother me, and I don't have this burning curiosity to understand every single thing. But at the table, there's a whole lot of laughter that goes on, and I'd like to be part of that. So that's the pressure to learn Visayan. But I still, while there are courses in Tagalog that are available, there's none in Visayan. Now, if I could find one in Visayan, I would, because that would allow me then to have, obviously, the cheapest coaches. The cheapest coaches are the kids, because they will correct you mercilessly, backed up by hysterical laughter at your terrible pronunciation. But you would learn. The little snippets that I've learned of Visayan, I always wanted to know whether, when we went out on the motorcycle and we came back, always I'd have to have somebody with me, and I learned to be able to say, did you have fun? And of course, everybody with any sense that comes over here and has a Filipina lady is going to learn how to say I love you, aren't they? And you're beautiful, and all those kinds of things. But that's not conversational, is it? So I'm still trying to work on that, and who knows, will I ever really succeed? Possibly I can learn a few sentences here and there, which causes people to start babbling on to me in Visayan or Tagalog, and I have no idea what they're talking about. There was that gag. Well, I'll keep that for another day. Thanks for looking in, and bye for now.